resolve, and reflect. Journeys end. The power of effective conclusions will be yours when you resolve conflict and reflect at your story's end. At the end of this lesson, you will write a conclusion to your narrative. Conclusion do's and don'ts. Professional writers like to end their stories in various ways. They might end with an image. She gazed out at the open sea where the air and water become one. Or with dialogue. Finally, said Jessie, you've caught up with me. I knew you'd make it. Or with an action. He pulled up the anchor and started the motor, ready to set sail. No matter how you choose to end the story, keep these do's and don'ts in mind. Do, resolve or settle the story's conflict. Do, end with a reflection. Don't leave your reader wondering what happens next, and don't introduce a new character or conflict. Imagine you've read the introduction and body of a narrative about a teen girl whose best friend betrayed her. Offered the option of spending the summer on her brother's boat or at a farm earning money caring for horses, she chose the boat. It was a difficult choice for her. Read each conclusion and determine which one is a satisfying way to end the story. Then select each image to see the feedback. Now that she made her choice to get on the boat, she felt free. She had felt this was where she was meant to be all along. All the challenges, all she'd overcome, had been worth it. She was stronger now. Finally, little sister, said Jessie, you've caught up with me. I knew you'd make it. Still standing on the docks, hesitating, she watched Jessie start to raise the anchor. Out of the corner of her eye, she could see someone running toward the docks, silhouetted by the sun. She wondered who it was, who they were looking for, and then turned toward the boat. She gazed out at the open sea where the air and water become one. Option 1. This conclusion is more satisfying. It resolves the conflict of where to spend her summer. She made the choice and is acting on it. It also contains a reflection. She reflects that everything she'd been through was worth it because it made her a stronger person. In the second story's ending, it's not as satisfying as the other. For one thing, it fails to resolve the conflict. Readers don't know whether she chooses to get on the boat or not. It also introduces a potential new character. The author might want us to think it's her friend coming to apologize, but we never find out. In addition, there's no reflection. She does not think about her struggle throughout the story or how it has changed her. Inspiration. Before you write your own story ending, let's finish reading the story grounded to see how the author concludes the story. The introduction gave us the setting of the crowded and stranded airplane inside a force field. The protagonist's main conflict is a desire to escape the force field, even knowing that to try was dangerous. Kate used a mirror to escape and sent it back inside the force field, hoping her coach would find it. Let's rejoin her as she waits to see what happens. She waited and waited, curled up behind the tree line, hoping she would see Mr. Jacks peek out from the hangar doors with the mirror in his hand. She needed to know he had received the mirror and seen her message. But when she woke to sunlight hours later, nothing had changed. She couldn't stay to wait any longer. To be out and exposed for so long was dangerous. She needed protection, food, and a new mirror for the next force field edge she encountered. She turned away from the airport, filled with fear and guilt. "And just where do you think you're going?" asked a deep voice. It was followed by a small bark. Who speaks at the end of the story? Mr. Jacks. We know from the words and the tagline saying, quote, "a deep voice," that it's him. Of course, his bulldog is also beside him. What is the resolution of the story? Let's see. The main conflict was Kate wanting to escape. That has been resolved with her achieving escape, and in the conclusion, she's waiting for her coach and friends. She does decide to leave alone, but then Mr. Jacks appears. What conclusion can you draw from the story's end that is not directly stated by the characters? I'm going to infer that he used the mirror. Correct. We know the bulldog picked up the mirror, so we can assume or infer the dog brought it to Mr. Jacks. He then used it to escape, as Kate's message indicated. Does this conclusion contain a reflection? I'm going to say, no. While Kate is waiting for Mr. Jacks, she is reflecting on something. Reflection is thinking about choices or events and their impact. Reread and try again. Let's see. She needed to know she had received when she woke. She turned away. I think it's yes. Kate reflects on whether she made the right choice to escape. That's right. Though she achieved her goal, Kate is anxious with fear and guilt about leaving on her own. Yet, she also reflects that to stay there longer would not likely be safe. Now you should be familiar with how to write an effective narrative conclusion. The conclusion of a narrative has a resolution, which shows how the conflict is resolved, and a reflection, which shows how the character thinks and feels. And all of them together provide a satisfying end to the story.